Okay, hello and welcome to the Grove. My name is Hawk, and this is a ramble video because I've been wanting to record this video, but other videos I wanted to get out first is just took precedence. And what I wanted to talk about for this video was NaNoWriMo because I didn't do it this year, which is weird because for the past, what has it been now? 10 years? 9 years, if you don't count this year. I have been doing NaNoWriMo. For those who don't know, NaNoWriMo is a huge... I need to kill this pig for its meat. For those who don't know, NaNoWriMo is a challenge where you write 50,000 words in a month. I've done it since 2016, and this was the first year where I didn't do it. Now, why is this? Well, first off, last year I was feeling pretty burned out from doing the challenge on top of my other responsibilities, because in previous years I could use my Google account and just write during the day, and I didn't really have that capability this last year because I was more focused on work and I didn't have as much downtime. I killed your parent. Whoops. Probably should have chosen a different pig to kill. The pig will be fine. And I just wanted to do a video talking about it in general. The reason I stopped mainly was due to the burnout. I was thinking about not doing it last year after the last time it ended, and then they came out with the official organizers came out with their pro AI stance, and I'm not going to burn myself out doing a challenge that allows people to use generative AI, or at least from what they implied, they allow people to use generative AI to do what they want for people to participate. And for me, the challenge always was using my creativity and my skills to participate in this challenge, and they didn't do that. So but I did enjoy NaNoWriMo, and it's been a huge part of my life. I'm not going to throw out the t-shirts that my parents got me as sort of like a prize for completing it every year. And I'm not going to just throw or give away my scarf that I have. I still liked the challenge aspect, and I did really enjoy doing the challenge itself. I believe one of the reasons that I am a pretty good writer now, while I don't really publish anywhere, I do think my writing actually improved in those months. And last year, my writing was probably my favorite, and it was just me finally getting down to writing about my OCs with my OCs, my main cast of characters, not just made for that month. So that was really cool. So that's just a basic overview. NaNoWriMo is a big writing challenge that encouraged me to get better at writing by just focusing for 1 month just on a huge writing project. And then I am stopping because I don't believe that the writers now respect how much work goes into it. So those are my main reasons. There's like another controversy that happened last year as well, about stuff that happened on their forums. I don't know about that. I had to use the internet to learn about that, but it did factor into my decision. I just don't feel like doing it anymore. I'm just not in that place in life where that's something that I care too much about. But I do care about Minecraft, which is why I started this channel. My creative pursuits ended up somewhere else. And that's okay. That doesn't mean I don't have a story about how I got into it and everything, or my experience. Long-winded way of, here's how I got into NaNoWriMo in the first place. The answer was my dad. My dad was the one who got me into NaNoWriMo. I can't remember the exact reason he found out about it, and I should probably have double-checked this video, but it doesn't really matter because at some point he told me. I was one of the people he told about it because he knew I was really into writing. One of the many things that I would do on my computer, one of the first things that I would do when I got my first computer was write. I think it's having an outlet for creativity actually helped me during the day because before NaNoWriMo, I had a huge daydreaming problem, and I think being able to get those ideas out into the world somewhere really aided my focus levels. So, and even today, one of the reasons I keep like pocket sticky notes near my desk at work is so that if something's floating too much around my head, I'll write it down where it's like, okay, I've addressed it, now I can move on. And it's actually been very helpful in my day-to-day. And when we got my computer, that's one of the first things I did. And it was actually one of the reasons why I got so fast at typing. Because when I was introduced to typing, it was only through school. And then combined with Minecraft, I actually had a reason to invest time into something that I didn't actually have a lot of information about. Motivation about. I actually preferred to write by hand because of how slow I was. So my dad's like, hey, this is something that my kid will like, and so I'm going to tell them about it. And so he told me about it. I have actually this distinct memory of, I want to say it was the first year, might have been the second, but at least the first year, maybe the first year, where we were actually in the same room. I was working on my computer, and he had come into my room because I was also typing, and so we just had like this parallel play, parallel action where we were both working on our writing at the same time. And it was just really fun. And that was the moment where he's like, oh, you type very fast. I'm like, yeah. Which kind of was funny. So that's one memory that I have of participating in NaNoWriMo, was just hanging out with my dad and dad being the one who got me into it. So that's one memory that I have of NaNoWriMo. Another one is that my mom actually read my first book, and the way she did it was that there was this sale going on that if you were participating in NaNoWriMo, there's a link and you could get a print version of your book. I don't actually know where that copy is now. It's probably in storage somewhere, but my mom read it and she really liked it. It definitely is one of those books where I could. There are definitely things that I would change now if I were to rewrite it, because it's very obviously, this person is a first author. Just because of things that I know I decided to include, sort of like hints to fandoms that I was in, and I don't know, there are just some really weak character decisions where I feel like I could have written them better. Like, the main character is supposed to be quiet, but I don't think he's actually that quiet. Or at least it doesn't feel it. He's quiet. There was a whole plot line that was basically an Elsa-like character was in a romance. I don't feel like that background thing was done very well. But I have looked occasionally back at the draft, and I think it is good. I just think I would need to rewrite it if I were to ever formally publish it. Although I do have it up on Wattpad, so I'm sure people can find it somewhere if they're determined enough. But my mom said she would want another book, and I did leave space in the world where there could have been another book. So that gave me a lot of motivation to keep writing. My parents were very supportive of this effort, and they often gave me often gave me encouragement. Like I mentioned a bit earlier, I was bought the t-shirts as like a prize, and it was just something that I would get every Christmas in addition to my usual usual Christmas gift. So that's kind of cool. And so NaNoWriMo I associate with my parents because they were very supportive of me during that. And I would always update them, hey, this is how, and the rest of my family, hey, this is how far I am. And what I eventually started doing, I think it was like the second or third year, I want to say the second, where I just, okay, here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do 2,000 words per day, and that would be my goal. Because the idea is that if I do at least 2,000 words per day, all I have to do to figure out what my goal is for that day, for the total of words that I need to complete as a whole throughout the challenge, is whatever date is, times 2, that's where I need to be at the end of the day. And then you would be at day 25 with 5 days as buffer in case I can't get to it. My next major memory of participating in NaNoWriMo would definitely have to be the 2 years I spent in one universe. So I had one book, and then I had a second book following up it because I just had like an additional idea for the plot line. It just focused on 2 side characters that I don't think ended up in the first book until like the second half. But regardless, basically what had happened is that I was in a science fiction class, and it was science fiction and fantasy. And what had happened is that we were told to create a world as part of a world building project. And naturally, I fell in love with the world and was like, you know what? I'll use that as my sort of world for that year. Because why not? I could, so I did. And ended up being 2 years long, because of course it did. And there's a smoker back here. I could just take all the stuff over there. And so I just spent 2 years. The first one was sort of an overview where it was episodic, where every chapter was more like a short story telling about this world, where basically the gods were trying to figure out how life worked. That was the general gist of the story of the book. And for the second, I thought there was a villager there. And for the second book, the first half was just focusing on this one person who went off and was trying to help a hotel, and just ended up working at a hotel. And then somebody dies and it causes problems and conflicts. And that's the first half of the book. The second half just ends up being like this romance tale between 2 of the characters at the hotel, because one of them gets kidnapped and the other one goes to save them. And then there's the additional third of the book where the guy who worked at the hotel decided to go back and to like where his family was. It was a very interesting book. So yes, for 2 years straight, I just worked on a single world and created that. Oh, there's like, this could definitely be a lake if I was terraforming. And that's what I did. But for subsequent years following that, I just focused on working on completely new storylines. Because for me, I like the challenge of being able to just create a world and focusing on that world for that month. So to create a new one and just focus on that for that month. There's a completely original world. I was very much, I think they call it a pantser, where basically the idea is that you create the world from scratch every single year. And that's what I did. I like the shape of those rocks. It kind of looks like a skull nose. So it was just fun to create, and that's why I enjoyed the challenge. Then, what was next? And then I decided last year, okay, this might be the final year, because I didn't know how often I was going to continue doing it. So I'm just going to worry about my OCs, at least get the main cast that I'd been building up for at least a few years now. Because I had a concept that I wanted to do. And some of those scenes are definitely the strongest I've ever written. Nothing that I'm willing to put out into the wild internet yet, just because I have other stuff that I want to attend to first, and because I'm not at a position to where I feel like there's enough to put out. The storyline's long. I didn't end the book this year. I didn't finish the book. That's kept happening too. That's pretty. There are certain ones where, okay, I've wrapped up the story, and the one I did this year was definitely one of those years where, no, I didn't. There's a lot more writing that I could do. This year was also, not this year, last year. Last year, that's when I did NaNoWriMo. I didn't do NaNoWriMo this year. But this last year, I went. Last year was interesting too, because I even have a section of the book where it's deleted scenes, because at one point I had to take out some of the scenes because it wasn't working with the plot. The plot wasn't working as I wanted to. And I do really like how I turned the plot instead. So it was a good thing to do, but I still want to be like, this is what I wrote for NaNoWriMo. The words still count. I still wrote stuff. It just wouldn't be in the final draft, which is okay. Because the whole point is just to get words on the page. That's the whole point of the challenge, which I really appreciated. It was a great way to develop stuff and just get things out. I'll definitely be returning to that document too. Or documents. I don't know why I said like it was just one document, because I wrote the actual story on one document, and then I would have this Excel which has all the information of what's going on in the story. So what scenes I wanted to do, what characters would be in those scenes, any information about those characters. I switched to an Excel, I think last year, maybe the year before, but previous years I would basically do the same thing just in a Google Doc. And the Excel itself, it wasn't very extensive with the note taking. I definitely use different sheets to organize different information, like, oh, what schedules in their school did they have? Because that was important to me to get right. So that I knew, hey, they might interact with this character. And so I would just have that set up so I could keep things straight and organized. And I also had topics. I did mention that it was sort of like what would be in each scene, but it was also more accurate to be like whose POV is it, what thing generally happens in the scene, what scenes need to go before it if needed, and that in itself was a great thing. One of the reasons I switched in Excel is that it's easy to reorganize stuff. So I could be like, okay, this plot point needs to go before this plot point, and this plot point needs to go before this plot point because of this aspect that needs to happen first. And it really helped organize stuff. And it didn't have to be a specific chapter, it could just be a general event. And then I just kind of wrote around that. It made things very easy because all I had to do was focus on one aspect. I also think this was the first year where I didn't focus too much on getting things done in order, because previous years I did, where I'd focus on writing everything start to finish in order and how events happen. And this year last year I'm pretty sure that I didn't do that, because there were sometimes you just feel the need to write a different scene, or that scene isn't, like, you have no ideas for that scene, or it's just challenging to write right now for some reason, and so moving on is just the better option. And I realized just how much it worked for me last year. So one of the main chapters I think I liked last year was the first chapter. I think it was really good. With a few edits, it probably could be a standalone like short story. And then how I changed the dynamic between two of the characters made their romance a lot stronger. I really like how they turned out, because we have these two characters one who's currently called Quill in the story, and then later on chooses a different name, and then one who's called Alden, and they have this romance. Alden is the iron. Alden is the ghost that lives in Quill's car, basically. It's more complicated than that, but that's where it is. And he actually got more backstory in this book while I'm developing this book, because I realized that I needed more backstory for him. I had sort of an idea, but one of the chapters focuses him basically using social media to check up on his family. And so he got more backstory. And I really like the dynamic I'm building with him and Quill, who is just kind of trying to figure out how life works outside of the place she grew up in. So that's nice. But I also like the other family I'm focusing on, which Blake, who is the one who's the POV for the first chapter, is. I don't want to spoil anything in case I do release it as stuff, but there is that. Hello, I'm just going to be inside your house. Here. Here's payment for using your... Didn't have to leave! Okay, I guess I'm renting this space now. Walk in, place down a bed, villager walks out. Okay then. I guess I'll just rent the space for you for one night. Because I want to release it eventually, I just need to actually write the rest of it. I think Alden is actually a good example of sort of why I like writing books in general. Because I get to meet characters, I get to learn more about them just as I'm writing. Especially since I'm one of those people who, when they're writing, it's kind of like a movie scene in their head, where I can visualize the scene, how it would look cinematically. There we go, that's the word. And I also get to learn things about characters that I otherwise did not know, or learn about different places that I create. Even though I'm the creator, I'm still learning about them, and it's really cool. The aspect is just really cool to me. So I guess this video is not just about NaNoWriMo, but also just I like writing, and that's why I try to bring it into my channel as well. Even though I don't have a lot of that. Well, I mean, I do. But the reason I don't just do straight storytelling is that I like hanging out with people, which is why I try to join lore SMPs. The only one I've really joined is Lorecraft, and I've been really enjoying that storyline. And I'm hoping to join at least another SMP so I can develop stories with that as well. Because I like hanging out with people and sharing the creation process with them. Because as strong as my writing is, collaborative storytelling has been a lot more fun. Because other people have different thoughts, and that is really cool off in the distance. It's a big rock formation. That looks like a floating rock formation. What is going on there? Okay, I might have to investigate that. But I just enjoy the general storytelling process, and because people have different ideas, have different perspectives and different thoughts, it really makes I want to say perspective? Makes the story a lot stronger. Can't tell if that's the same as the sand around it or not. I feel like that's suspicious sand, but I have no supplies to get that. And I just want to create stories. And that's one of the reasons why I'm like, yeah, Dad, I'll gladly write this challenge. Because one, it's just writing, because writing's fun. And I continue doing this channel because I like sharing my perspective on things. And hi, I did not see you in the thing. I just enjoy storytelling. That's why I did NaNoWriMo originally. I enjoy storytelling, and I enjoy being in places where because in addition to storytelling, I like Minecraft. I need to go around because that'll help. So yeah, anyway, long story short, I like NaNoWriMo. I liked my experience with NaNoWriMo. I have memories of my parents supporting me through that. I have positive memories of developing my skills as a writer, and I just enjoy the process. But if you're not going to respect the process, why should I do your challenge with their efforts about AI and things? I saw a squid over here. Why? See one squid. So, yeah. I don't really know what else I can say on the topic. I liked NaNoWriMo, and while I may do similar writing challenges where I will work on developing my skills itself, I don't feel the need to continue it. And I don't know what else to say about it. I hope you have a good day, night, whatever time it is for you. And goodbye.